youngest grandson, Brandon, and they belong to Angie. And then there's Angelica, please stand wherever you are, our oldest granddaughter. And there is Tasha, also Angie's daughter. She's our second granddaughter. And then there's James. James belongs to
this is Jeff's oldest son.
And Lauren. And then we have, see, those are the easy ones. Not good, sorry. Oh, and okay, where's Sharon? Okay. Okay, this is, and Todd. Yeah. And his mom, Laura Lee, and Janet.
Laura Lee came from Joseph. Yeah.
Yes.
And Todd and Angie and their family came all the way from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Okay. And we also had a special guest. You know, we're always adding to our family. And Joseph is...
He's not a family member yet.
Yeah, he's engaged to Karen. Okay. All right. So, what I'd like for I'm going to ask for help over here because I think I'm going to like fumble it up and I'm a little nervous. So, what I'd like for you to do is like start over here with Ken and with Thelma, and we'll kind of like explain who everybody is. But everybody say your name so that I don't have to look and find you on here. And tell us who you are.
I'm Thelma Allen. I was married to Merrill's oldest brother.
This is my oldest sister, Dorothy.
Where's York?
Oh, in Nebraska. In York, Nebraska. Very small school, less than 100. So everybody knew everybody. But he was, you know, he was going steady, and I was looking, and you know, so I picked him out and started to kind of like make myself available wherever he was. And I was like, ready, but, you know, she wasn't there, so. I invited him to a young men's training class. That's where people start to preach. You know, they practice their preaching. And girls go because there's a lot of young men there. So I invited him to go, and he did. So I figured he was probably more interested as well. And so I just chased him till I caught him. He has a different version of this story.
I have the true version. It must have been that meeting that there was a bunch of guys walking back to our dormitories after the meeting that evening. And we were walking behind a group of girls, and she was one of them. And I kept noticing, back in those days, petticoats were pretty popular. And and it kind of flared out, and when she walked, it was sort of and of course, I couldn't help but notice her legs at the but I knew that something had to happen between where I was and where she was going to turn left to go up to her dormitory, but I was too shy and nothing happened. I didn't say anything to her. But I can't remember what the first, our first verbal encounter was, but it eventually happened, and we had a lot of conversations and got to know each other a little bit better, and I decided, well, I'd really like to date her, but being a faithful kind of person that I was, I couldn't exactly do that because I was going steady with a girl back home. And so I had to call her and broke it off over the phone. She was heartbroken, of course. So that reined me up. I got out of that contract and got into another. And we started dating, and we had our first kiss on February the 14th, 1962. And the rest is history.
You know, at that time in a small school, people got married quick. And so if you consider from Valentine's Day to August 28th, because that's how long it was, you know, it's like that's, you know, we moved and grooved really pretty fast. We were slated to get married in December, but we couldn't wait. And, you know, it's like love conquers all. Didn't have a job, didn't have any prospects, you know. It's like we were 19, you know, so get married, right? So we did. We put our wedding together in a week. This dress was a formal that I had, and it had the bows on the side. So we put it on the front, you know. So the veil was a overskirt that my mother made for a prom dress that I had. And so very creatively, we put all that together. Our wedding cost $25, and that was for the arbor. The pictures are in the album over there, but that's for the arbor and the flowers that my bridesmaid carried down mine. It was a cheap wedding. The flowers from another girl's wedding 2 days ahead of ours were donated. So, and some friends of ours gave us the reception in Middlebrook Hall at York College, and the women's dormitory, and they had a beautiful parlor there, so it was really pretty snazzy. And so that's how to have a wedding on the cheap.
Well, I have a question for you, Dad. How did you know she was the one?
I thought we had these questions cleared. Well,
about your proposal to us. What kind of story do you have for us?
Do you want me to tell him?
Yeah.
He didn't. We started talking about getting married. You know, it's kind of one of those things where you talk and you talk and you talk, and pretty soon you're getting married. And so the night before the wedding, I got kind of hacked because he had never really asked me. And so I made him ask. So that was our proposal.
There's another version of that. I don't
You don't remember that?
No, I don't.
Maybe I should have cleared the question. Well, meeting each other, dating, planning for the wedding, blissful hopes for the future, the wedding, the cake, the honeymoon, these things can keep life interesting for a time. Yet most of us know here that keeping a relationship going and alive takes more than just setting it into motion. In a few minutes, we would like you all to have an opportunity to share with us an encouragement, story of a time that their relationship influenced you, or something that you would like to say to our happy couple. And I would like to begin and open it up to our family and then to you. I'd like to share that I'm kind of a bottom line person, and the bottom line for me is I'm happy you're together. And I know that living through the years that encouraged self-centered, independent living, you made it intact. This is so important to me because it sets a stage for my own marriage and for the ones in my line, your grandchildren. Sometimes the bad times make it hard to see that, but as I read that God has written eternity in our hearts, I believe that that's what He wants us to do here, and He wants us to practice that. And it's, I think it's by the grace of God that we are able to see it here, not only a surviving marriage, but one that is thriving and working on it as a happy couple. And I think it's a great witness and example for your immediate family and for those around you.
Right now, I'd like the family members, or if one of you would like to say something. Lauren has a lapel mic, and he's going to go around so he can get you right where you're at.
Big picture of marriage. At their wedding, a young bride and groom are rarely aware of the big picture of marriage. Even though they may say we're richer, for poorer in sickness and health than the other pledges, rarely does that prepare us for the real tests of commitment. And today, right here and now, you and I are privileged to witness a real life, big picture in the celebration of 50 years for my sister, Karen, and her husband, my brother, Merrill. As the little sister, I've always known Karen. 10 years separate us, and she has shepherded my life. When I was a little girl of 10, Merrill joined our family, so he's really always been a part of family life for me. So I have inside information, don't you know, about how Karen and Merrill have traversed their life journey to this very day. And while there have been, as you might imagine, countless blessings, joys, and many happinesses, there's also been pain, heartache, and difficulty. So many couples succumb to these challenges, yet there was always a constant partner who they trusted to give them strength, forgiveness, and courage to move forward against all odds. Of course, we know this partner is our Lord God, whose plan is perfect when ours is not. So, the big picture of love and marriage you see today is a tribute to him and what can happen when we follow his word. Along their journey together, Karen and Merrill have blessed and been blessed by each one here. They love and adore most their special children, Angie and Jeff, but also their spouses, Todd and Sharon, and all these wonderful grandchildren who are so much fun and wonderful. Their family life has been very rich. You are here and likely feel and are loved like a family member. So we understand. You've been a part of the rich tapestry of their well-lived lives and have been a beneficiary of their professional skills, perhaps, their spiritual wisdom, their passions like photography, card making, roses. And I know I certainly have benefited from knowing them so well. So today, join me, won't you, in absorbing these blessings, the richness and joy of celebrating Karen and Merrill's big picture marriage.
I wasn't planning on coming up here, but my wife Angie is the bottom liner, and I'm the storyteller in the family. So I've got more than a few that I could share, but there's a couple that kind of stand out to me, and man, I don't like this stand. Can I do this? I feel like I'm on stage. One that was very instrumental very early on. Angie and my marriage moved pretty quickly too. I proposed on a July day, her birthday, and we got married 11 months later in June. And then children started to arrive, and I remember one year our second daughter was about 2 years old, and we were over at the house, and Merrill had just got a new stereo system, and it was really cool. And we were married, and we couldn't afford such things, but I'm sitting there admiring the speakers are huge. And the stereo had this big button on it, about that big around. And my 2-year-old decided that was the button that she wanted to go and churn to like level 100, and blew out his brand new speakers. And the lesson that I learned from this 20 years ago was Merrill's grace. He said, because I'm freaking out, I'm going, oh my Lord, Tasha, you just blew out Grandpa's speakers. And he said, don't worry about it. They're only speakers. It's just something. And that can be replaced. So don't be mad at Tasha, and don't be upset. And I was so grateful for that. An even sadder story was the day we moved, and they joined us at the airport. This was July 28th, 2000. And besides seeing Danny Glover at the airport, which is kind of cool, we walked down the concourse, and here's all my bawling children, all 4 of them, and they're on the plane looking out the windows, and there's Grandma and Grandpa still waving as the plane was pulling away. And I know that was difficult for my mom and dad as well, but it was a tough day, and we've been separated by a lot of miles, but we haven't been separated in our hearts. And so I want to thank you for that. I love you guys. Yeah, got them all warmed up for you. Stop that one.
I had a bright mind too. Sorry. I knew I wouldn't be able to. But okay.
taken me into your lives and your family. Not just a daughter-in-law, I'm a daughter. And it's like the show Cheers when I come in the house, Sharon! You know, I love you guys. I appreciate the way that you have intentionally and thoughtfully made me part of your family, and I couldn't be more pleased. There are a couple things that I'm really impressed with in your marriage. First, you have both dedicated yourselves to being healers of the human spirit. Sorry. I have experienced this myself as I go through struggles in life. You two are always available to listen, affirm, and gently guide. I know you have done the same thing for countless others, not just in your professional lives as therapists, but for your friends, church, family, coworkers, and neighbors. And the people in this room are testimony to that. The second thing in your marriage that I've always been impressed with is your celebratory nature, as I'm crying. You two look for ways to celebrate life, and in particular, the people in your life. You make key events, accomplishments, and the overcoming of hurdles a cause for celebration. Thank you. You take the time to lift others up and make them feel special. You take the time to celebrate each person's individuality by knowing their likes and dislikes and planning accordingly. Thank you both so much for living life conscientiously and for loving unconditionally. You are my favorite mom and dad-in-law.
Shaped by you. We have become who we are today because people have loved us, been family to us, modeled lives for us, showed us the way. The celebration to us is not about us, but it's about you. It's about all of the people who have brought us this far. And the God that took care of us and helped us and made our lives what it is today. So we thank you so much for being here. It's such a pleasure to see the many people who represent pieces of our lives. And we're just so grateful that you're here.
Somebody asked me recently what do you attribute those 50 years to, expecting probably a brief answer. And I didn't know what to say because there's so many things that you can attribute 50 years of marriage to. And later I thought about so many things. We survived under God's grace and His love, and I thought also about that saying, and I'm probably not quoting it exactly, but that it takes a village to raise a child, and I thought, the role of the citizens of villages have a lot more responsibility than just raising children. I think that in no small way, we are a product, I think all of us are a product of the influences of the villages that we have been connected to over the years. And you, in no small way, all of you have played a citizenry role in our village of influence over the years, and we thank you for that. It's an unspeakable gift that you have given us, and my words are inadequate to express that, so I simply say thank you.